Welcome, friends. This is The Medium's Harvest by Emmanuel through Xavier. The book is Seara dos Médiuns. This book was translated, it has been translated into English, and was first published in Portuguese in 1961 as a tribute to 100 years of the publishing of the Medium's book by Kardec. But why did Emmanuel do this tribute? You know, the superior spirits do not pay tribute, they do not celebrate out of vanity. They do it out of expanding services. Emmanuel, in bringing this book to us, he is extending a new opportunity for us to study the Medium's book from the heart. He teaches us to feel the scriptures. He brings it to the personal level and makes us more secure, safer in our mediumistic practice and the understanding of mediumship as a whole. We've been studying 12 chapters, including the introduction by Emmanuel. He says that this book was a byproduct of mediumistic messages given in 90 meetings. Okay, when they were studying the medium's book, he took one item at a meeting and broke it down to us, for us. Today we're going to study item 228. What is it? If you ask the question, what is the greatest, not the greatest, the biggest stumbling block of the medium, what would be the answer? Pride. Pride. Pride is the most difficult. It really blocks us from connecting to higher spirits. We're talking about vibrations, friends. Let us think about vibrations. You and I are spirits, and this is our physical body. But this is not us. It's connected to us through the spiritual body. We are not here seated. I, Vanessa, am not seated here. I'm connected to the physical body that is seated here and talking to you through Facebook Live. And you may be there seated or standing, driving, walking, dancing, I don't know, anywhere in this world, but it's your physical body connected to you. But who are we? Vibrating beings. Our emotions, they make us vibrate at a particular frequency, at a particular intensity and quality. And as the mentors say, it has colors, it has a particular odor. And when we talk about pride, in the sense, not the positive pride that we're talking about in the United States, we're talking about ego. When we talk about ego, that negative side of pride, then we become denser, enter a frequency that distance ourselves from the connection of the higher spirits. So Emmanuel is going to discuss item 228 of the Medium's book by Kardec, that precisely talks about pride as being the most terrible stumbling block of a medium. Terrible. So we need to pay attention, my friends. Pay close attention to it. And today he's going to say, in mediumistic service, the stumbling block is pride. Come on over. Let's listen to it, because Emmanuel brings it to the personal level. Meeting on February 15th, 1960, discussing item 228 of the Medium's book, Emmanuel says, if you have embraced mediumship, take care against pride, as one who protects himself from a destructive parasite, a subtle agent. It takes many different forms in our spiritual constitution. At first, it takes on the overwhelming form of an infestation, like scabies. It is the prickly demand of a foolish personalism. Its victims identify only themselves, see no merit in others, ignore the rights of others, disregard the aspiration of others, see no need for others. Fascinated by pompous adjectives, they proceed, blind to reason, as if mentally ill. The acute phase, though, gives way to deep discouragement. Without recourse to the moral remedy of discernment, and even less disposed to respond to criticism, victims of this illness fall into the trap of doubt or into the shadows of complaint. Systematically disinclined to believe in the usefulness of those around them, they end up being skeptical of their own usefulness as well. They say then that they are persecuted and discouraged. They proclaim themselves hesitant and unhappy and flee from service as if they were running from imminent danger, coming to rest finally in the museum of unfulfilled promises and dreams deferred. In the exercise of mediumship, we accept the act of service as one of the highest lessons in the school of the world. And we must remember that, as in life, which has workers for every kind of service, there are mediums for the execution of every type of task in the service of the good. None of them is greater than any other. None of them free from error. All, on the other hand, carry with them the blessed possibility of being of assistance. This one has the world that educates, that one the hand that relieves, and that other one the compassion that consoles. This one brings the prayer that inspires, the other carries the message that encourages, and that other one has the strength to restore. Therefore, use your mediumistic faculties as loan from infinite kindness, so that pride may never assault you. And remember that Jesus, the divine medium, is in no circumstance looked for the admiration of those who were influential in his time, but rather walked among people, sustaining and understanding, helping and serving. And if there was a gift from God in which he invested himself over any others, it was that of practicing the living gospel amidst his people, personally visiting the huts of the anguished and feeding the hungry crowd, offering pure love to the nameless sick and extending hope to the homeless. In Mediumistic Service, the medium of God, Jesus, our guide and model. So let us talk about pride as a destructive parasite. Yes, because it makes us, what does pride do? It makes us believe that we're above others, that we have privileges, that people don't know what we know. How dangerous is it to think, are we like this, friends? So we need to pay attention. That's why watch and pray, watch and pray, watch. The minute I'm feeling I am higher, I say, you know what? Mentor Joseph says often, Vanessa, focus on the people who are sick. Focus on those who need help. And you will not lose sight of the smallness of ours before the Creator. And how much we need connections. To do any good. We cannot do it alone. We need friends. We need a network of connections. So, let us meditate on this. Where are we? Would you like to rate it? You can, and it's valid. From 0 to 10. 0 being like nothing, and 10 being terrible. Like top level. Pride. Where do you think you are? It's your call. There's no right or wrong, but it's important for us to have an idea. Where am I? What number got to your mind? Don't share with us, please. Keep it private. But think about it. The first number that got it, don't question it. Write it down. Then meditate. Meditate. Why? 8. A lot of pride. But be kind to that reading. Saying, in the sense of like, do not put yourself down. Say, okay, I'm gonna work on it. How? How do I work on it? By admiring the divine in everything and in everyone, including the people that are apparent roadblocks in our lives. They are what? They are children of God. They are children of God. They've reincarnated to learn to do good. No, they didn't. Yes, they did. I'm sure. They are not children of nothing. That doesn't exist. That doesn't exist. Right? Children of nobody? No. Children of not even somebody. The one and only God. G-O-D. God is here. G-O-D. God is everywhere. And He created, or she created, or whatever we want to name. God created all of us. So the minute I say, that person, look what they're doing, okay, that's not right, but that doesn't mean they are not divine. What else can we do to prevent or to counterbalance this pride that we have cultivated for lives out of self-preservation? No, but Vanessa, if I don't put myself like that, people smash me. Let it be. Literally. I remember, you think it's easy? It's not easy. People may certainly think less of us. That doesn't change me. I don't need to think that I am above just to protect myself. It's not going to change people's minds. It's an illusion. I don't need to speak to make people know me. I vibrate. That's my language. The language of the spirit is vibratory. The code needs to be decoded by feelings, perception. So, but if I don't say, people will not know me. But if I don't do, people will not know me. Not necessarily. There is a power that radiates and is not spoken. It's called virtue, named by Andre Lewis in the book Christian Agenda. Virtue is not a mouth that speaks, but a power that radiates. Really meaning, when we look at people, we feel them. We may not say anything. Like today, we were at the Spirit Side of Virginia receiving our friends from the Enlightenment Spiritist Society, Mount Vernon Spiritist Society. What a joy, what a joy, what a joy. They were there, we're looking at them and say, wow, it's a dream for us. A dream. What a dream. They are there. They are here for tomorrow's event. Be inspired. Thought is life. Okay? And we will transmit a cardiac radio. Of course, you're far away. You deserve to be the one. We deserve to have you with us in this moment. We will. But if you can come in person, I assure you, you're not gonna feel the same way. He's telling us, Emmanuel is telling us, pride is not good. Thank you, Cesar. I know we can feel you. Raquel Bakesh in South Carolina, how are you? Welcome, welcome. So, in the Mediumistic Service, he says, if you have embraced mediumship, have you embraced it? You did? Did not? Is trying to? Contemplating? So he says, be careful. Pride, it's real. It is real. Because it's that illusion. You know what kind of illusion? Kardec says in the Medium's book that item 228, please read it, 228, chapter 20th, the moral influence of mediums. And Kardec says it makes us be blind. We feel so confident that we do not double check other resources. We stop working together. No, we're not obliged to work with anyone, but we need to find a group of affinity. It is vital to keep our minds in check, to keep our feelings checked. Pride can be deceiving. And then we start feeling, we think others don't know as much. We think others are not as enlightened. Be very, very careful. And that happens, pride of nations, nationalities, races, which is all prejudice, and it's called ethnocentrism. When I feel that what I do, my culture, my things is better than others. No good. Right? And he says, he gives characteristics, a destructive parasite. Little. And you know, that's what Kardec says. The reason why pride is dangerous, it's because we often do not confess we feel it. No, I'm not. I just think that people often don't know what they're doing. But I do. Pride, that's pride. What kind of thought characterizes pride? It's when we feel that we're greater than others, that we are infallible. But we cannot go to the extreme of feeling like I'm always wrong. That's another story. But in between, I'm not always right, I'm not always wrong. By the way, homeopathic medicine advises us to be careful with these big words. Always, never. Because vibratorily, they are two extremes. And in life, health belongs to the rhythm of life. There is a rhythm. It's rhythmic. It's not like one or the other, all or nothing. It has a pattern, a pace. Can you feel it? Yes. Pride is an extreme, not healthy. Pride is a social disease. It can be the disease of an individual in his or her social life. And selfishness too. Remember, yesterday we were studying item 226, and Kardec disclosed to us that the conditions to connect to superior spirits in mediumship is to only desire the good and avoid selfishness and pride. So the minute we think we're better than others, the superior spirits, and it's not that they are, "Oh, I'm not going to connect with you, Vanessa." They simply can't. They want to, like good teachers to students. But the student is not focused on learning and serving. The student is focused on saying, "I want to be the best. I want to bully others. I want this, that, and the other." So we have really to be careful, okay? Very, very careful. He says, it's a destructive parasite, a subtle agent, and it's like overwhelming form of infestation, and it's foolish, and it brings fascination, and it can even be connected to mental illness at some point. The acute phase, though, gives way to deep discouragement. So why is he saying this? He's talking about that moment and the one that is critical. The critical one, when we cultivate it, we start being blind. But Kardec discloses to us that people in general may be co-responsible for our pride, because they say, "Oh, you're the greatest, you're the greatest, you're the greatest, you're the greatest." Don't believe it. The greatest is God. Say, "Oh, okay, God is good. I may like you very much. That's valid. But the greatest, I like the way you do this. I like the way you cook. I like the way you dress. I like the way you speak. I like the way you talk. I like the way you hug, the way you're a good friend." That's valid. What is not valid? The way you do is the best of the best of the best. You know, people, they did this to Jesus. One day, palms and roses to God, to Jesus. The next day, they were crucifying him. Don't be deceived. The acute phase leads to discouragement. There is danger, they fall. Cases of what? Several mediums. Majority of mediums. So, mediumship is what? How can we prevent it? The exercise of mediumship, we accept the act of service as one of highest lessons in the school of the world. Mediumship is service. It's not ours. It's not a gift. It's a concession. It's a loan of infinite goodness. Yes, infinite kindness. And use mediumship as a loan, as a concession by God. Emmanuel says pride is not going to take us over. Remember Jesus. He didn't look to be admired. He served. That's what Mentor Joseph repeats always. I say, "But Mentor Joseph, this is hard, that is hard, da-da-da." And he's like, "I know, but it doesn't matter." Focus on the suffering, Vanessa. Focus on the people who are far away and have no spiritual center. Focus on the people who don't know these books because they're not in English. Focus on the people who do not have education, who do not have maternal care. Focus on this. Forget about this, that, and the other. Politics, trash it out. He says, respect, but don't get involved. Why? Because Jesus didn't need an organization to do what he needed to do. Chico Xavier didn't need it, Divaldo Franco doesn't either. So why do you? Don't. Be simple. You know, in this book that is not yet in English, I've mentioned before, briefly, Evangelho do Futuro. by Dr. Bezerra de Menezes when he was incarnated. Through the pseudonym Max, he wrote books, amongst them Evangelho do Futuro. And there he talks about a priest that is really Christian, admirable. Due to his fame, he was invited to be a bishop. But you know why he declined? Says Dr. Bezerra. Because he didn't want the vanity of those positions. He wanted to keep himself close to the people who needed him, and not the discussions of the behind the scenes of how people are going to do things, but on doing the things. And then the Dr. Bezerra de Menezes says, this was a man of true Christian virtues, of simplicity. Because sometimes when we take positions in our lives, sometimes even at work, and I'm saying this irrespective, not only the Spiritist movement, anywhere. Sometimes people are like, you want to take this position, but they don't do nothing. Parenthesis here, okay? The spirit mentors of the Spirit side of Virginia always advised us. And the Spirit side of Virginia, the Spirit is the Kardec Radio, the Spiritist magazine. Do not allow people to take up positions and not fulfill them. Because if they don't fulfill the works in their position, they're going to create karma for themselves. Because in their conscience, they are registering. I have committed to do this, but I'm not doing this. And I didn't do anything. Oh, but Vanessa, nobody asked. It's not about other people. It's about your conscience. So if you are an administrator, do not let people sit on their positions without doing nothing. Help them fulfill the task. And if they don't, say, we better take this position from you. Because you're going to be creating karma for you. And I don't want to be co-responsible. That's why Jesus said the famous sentence that the president of the Brazilian Spiritist Federation reminded me and still does. Take care of your administration. One day you're gonna give account of it. Okay? Yes. That's the spirit, friends, okay? So here we are. Before we wrap up with the final sentence and about tomorrow, Constance Franklin is here with us. Hello, Constance. Andrea Torres. And here we have La Souza. How are you? Rihanna. How are you, beautiful Rihanna? And doing the study sessions of thought and life in the Afrikaans language. Big encouragement. Go on, friend. You and Nico. And Adilson, how are you, adorable friend? Yes, Anthony is sleeping. God bless him. Lívia Moraes is with us. Jolija, can't believe Jolija is with us. And Emmanuel Dison, how are you? Sol Souza, how are you? Paloma, how are you? Alessandra Jorge, beijo. Pro Márcio também. Merli Vasquez Rincapi, how are you? Sunshine, Adilson Ceissa, Leandro Almeida, how are you, my friend? Angelita Fraternity Without Borders, Silvio Otero, and Lé Severo, how are you? Andrea Torres, Raquel Baquesh, Ceissa, João Bosco, Lu Nicoliello, how are you? Karina, what a joy, Karina. Erica, thank you. God willing, we will be transmitting the event for you. Ali de Paula, how are you? Yes. Your friend Chris came to here tonight. Beautiful. Big hug. If we were physically present, but why not? A vibratory hug, huh? Vibratory hug. And I know Carol Correa is here with us. Can I show you to her? Is that okay, Carol? Sure. I can't hold it. She's here. Of course, she's here. Ding, ding.
Hi, friends. Much love. Big hug.
Yay. Carol is also here with us. Mark Smith. We're all downstairs working because tomorrow it's not an event. It's service. It's service. Okay? So who else is here and I didn't pick up? I guess Raquel Leong, how are you? Shelly Meyer, how are you? Michelle Rezende, Carmen Silveira. What a joy, friends. So in Mediumistic Service, we can't forget, pride is a no-no. What do we do with pride? We say, show pride. But pride's gonna say, I'm here to protect you. Say, no, thank you, because I have Jesus. And Jesus is protecting me. Pride is no longer preservation. I am not defined by thinking that I am above everybody else. Okay? So, he says, if there was a gift from God in which he invested himself over another, it was that of practicing the living gospel. So we need to reach out to others. Feel that mediumship is a concession of God. Then pride is not going to assault us. You feeling hopeful now? How are you feeling? Do you feel more empowered? Because I feel Kardec and Emmanuel are bringing to us practical tools. When you feel others' works are less, you think, they are children of God. I cannot think like that, because we all are brothers and sisters, right? Right, Carol?
Right on.
Yeah. And only God knows our hearts. So, tomorrow, when we come back, God willing, chapter 14, prayer and healing. We will need it. Prayer and healing. And, of course, he's gonna say, you take recourse in prayer next to this or that patient and suffer when their recovery seems tardy. Nonetheless, you ponder the divine law in which we're all inextricably enmeshed. And he says, let us organize the rescue of prayer next to all who suffer in lacerated bodies, but never lose our patience when healing is slow to arrive. Mamma mia, that's all I can say. Friends, for now let us meditate on pride and kindly sing to it, thank you but no thank you. Shoo pride. And we welcome the feeling of togetherness and humility. It feels good, it's light, it's calming, and we'll never feel alone again. Big hug to you, friends, and until tomorrow, God willing. Right, Carol?
Right.
Bye-bye.